Hey, Jesus people. It's been a while since we've had a quick moment of Bible talk. I'm here in my office today, and I've just been meditating on the story of Sarah and Abraham and God promising their descendants. Now, quick recap. We know that God makes a covenant with Abraham that his descendants will be as numerous as the sand. So he's promising him this huge generation after generation of descendants. Now, even though God had promised Abraham descendants, his wife was unable to conceive. And at one point, Abraham says to the Lord, "You're calling me blessed, but I don't even got a son. So, how am I blessed? How am I going to be able to have all these descendants if I don't even have a child right now?" And God tells him again, he confirms his covenant with him that he's going to give him these descendants. And Abraham says, "Okay, I trust you," and goes about his business. His wife, who was unable to conceive, then says, "Hey, you know what? God promised you descendants. I'm not able to do it. Here's my servant woman. Take her, and she could give you children." Well, we all know, well, maybe you don't know if you haven't read the Bible, but that this was not God's plan. God's plan was for Sarah to receive a child. And Hagar has a child, but it is not the promised seed that will cause all these descendants to come for Abram and his family. God once again comes to Abraham, tells him that his wife Sarah is going to have a baby the following year. Sarah overhears this and starts laughing at God for saying what he's going to do. Because in her mind and in Abraham's mind, this seems inconceivable. They don't understand how this could possibly be when the situation that they're facing is so impossible. Yet, Abraham is faithful and continues to have faith in the Lord, and God does end up having Sarah conceive the following year as promised. And I think, like Abraham and Sarah, a lot of times we're so used to having the control over our lives that when God tells us something that seems so inconceivable to us, we laugh in the face of God and say, "Lord, this can never be possible. You can't do this." Or, "Okay, sure, you could do it, but there has to be a way that you could do it." And we try to find how God is going to do it and see if we could take the steps to accomplish what God wants to do in our own ways rather than trusting in his ways. Again, they take the servant Hagar and they say, "Hey, you know what? This is going to be our descendant." And God's like, "That is not what I said." And I think a lot of times we could get ahead of ourselves and get ahead of God by stepping outside of what his will is in order for us to come up and conceive a plan that seems more possible. But we don't serve the God of just the possible. We serve the God of the impossible. We serve a God who knows how to make things happen. So I don't know what you're waiting on or what God is telling you to have hope in or what words he has spoken to you. I know that there's certain things that he has spoken to me, and sometimes I get very discouraged thinking, how could this ever be? And, I struggle to not take the reins and bring things into my own hands. We always have to constantly give God back over that control and say, "Okay, Lord, you said it, so I believe it. And I know that you will accomplish it in your time, in your way, and in ways that I can't even conceive yet." So I hope that's an encouragement to somebody today. If you have never read the Bible, or if you've never read the story of Sarah and Abraham and how that whole thing happened, maybe you just know it from Sunday school, I really encourage you to open it up and read it yourself. I spent last year reading through the Bible, and it's just been such an encouragement and something that I am very excitedly looking forward to doing again in this new year. Because every time I read through it, there's always something else that shouts out to me. And I was reading Sarah laughing at the Lord, and I was just thinking of how often we think things are so inconceivable and forget that God is a God of the possible. Like, he could do anything. There's nothing that our God can't do. Have a great day. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.